All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Dylan High. I'm with the Washington State Historical Society and our Heritage Outreach Department. I'm joined by my colleague Allison Campbell, who many of you all know and have worked with. We're really excited today to be joined with Elisa Law. Elisa actually had worked with us on a project a number of years ago around the women's suffrage centennial exhibit. And we're really pleased to have her joining us today to talk a little bit more about kind of upping some of your marketing game tips, strategies, really practical advice on utilizing Canva and how that can integrate across platforms, social media, etc. Without further ado, I'm going to turn things over to Elisa. Actually, sorry, before I forget, I do just want to mention these, if you haven't been part of these conversations before, these are our webinars are very informal. We really want this to be a conversation. So as we go throughout the day, if you have questions, things that you want to bring up, feel free to just unmute yourself, chime in, ask Elisa. You can also type things in the chat. Alice and I will be monitoring that, and we'll have plenty of time for questions at the end as well. Okay, with that, Elisa, thank you.
Thank you, Dylan. Yay. I'm so happy to be here. I miss working at Washington State Historical Society with Allison, and I never got to work with Dylan, but we went to the same museology program, and so he's like my senpai, my senior classman. Always looked up to you. So thanks for having me back. Um, my name's Elisa Law. I am an avid Canva user. This is when you all say, "Hello, Elise." I am obsessed with Canva. I use it all the time. I think I started using it actually in 2018 when I was at the State Historical Society. And it solved so many issues in working for small historical societies and small museums where there's not a dedicated in-house designer, or if there is an in-house dedicated designer, that they're just so overwhelmed and busy that like there's so many like little pesky tasks now with design that you are kind of expected to do. Instagram, Facebook, everything has to be sized appropriately. Flyers, reports, newsletters, donor newsletters, holiday cards, logos for special projects, exhibit like advertisements, and the list goes on and on. You could have one person full time just churning out all of this material. And if you don't have a super strong background in Illustrator, and even if you do, uh, Canva is like the absolute easiest like tool to start using to make your design life like so much simpler. So I'm curious in the chat, or everybody, can you raise your hand if you're already using Canva in some way? I'm curious to see how many of you are familiar with Canva. Oh, there they come. Also, yeah, Vermont representing in the chat. Like, where are all these Vermont people coming from? I love Vermont. Cool. Okay. Lots of folks. Maybe like, but not as many as maybe I would have thought. So that's great. I'm so glad. That means this might be like a brand new thing for a lot of us. Um, so Also, if in the chat you could put, if you could answer these couple questions, I would really love to make sure that this workshop, as much as I can, answers directly the concerns and questions you have. So if you could write in what your main challenge is in terms of graphic design or Instagram, or social media. What's your main challenge in terms of graphic design and social media? And what do you hope to learn from this workshop? If you could go ahead and like, give that some thought and pop that into the chat, Allison and Dylan will kind of look through those responses and poke me to try and answer them. And I'll do the best that I can. So I work right now as a project manager for HistoryLink, which is Washington's online encyclopedia of history. We've been around, we predate Google and Wikipedia. We've been around for over 25 years. And we have really stepped up our game in the last several years in terms of social media and graphics. Just, I mean, all kinds of graphics, all kinds of special projects. I also am the executive director of Friends of Magnuson Park, which is a teensy weensy nonprofit friends group that does historic preservation and advocacy in one of Seattle's biggest parks. And also a part of which has a also houses a historic district. So there's a lot of I do all the exhibit design and graphic design for them. And then, yeah, and I also just do freelance exhibit design here and there for funsies. And so I have my hand, and like the things I'm going to show you on Canva now are a mix between History Link stuff, Friends of Magnuson Park stuff, personal personal stuff, but you'll see a lot of those names and brands as we're going along. And I'll use the Washington State Historical Society too as like an example. But let's go ahead and dive in. I'm gonna share my screen and show you Canva. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, this is the Canva home screen. This is where your dashboard is, where you're going to have all of the various projects that you will design. And you'll see, I'll go through, there's a breadth of types of things that you can design in Canva, and it's really, really exciting. So for example, let's see. Um, let's just start with reports. So here's an example of um, some history link reports that we've done in Canva. So, and these were all based on like a template that like part of like the challenge of coming up with these designs constantly for all these reasons um is coming up with something from scratch. Like I need to come up with a flyer that for King County that shows what HistoryLink is doing in this county, how many articles we have, what kind of features we have, and why they should keep supporting us, financially, or and same with the city of Seattle, same with other funders. And all I need to do is go into design and find, this is the template that I used. I typed in probably report into the design template, and that brings up all kinds of samples of reports. And based on what your particular museum or historical society branding is, maybe this like cartoony one is more the vibe. Maybe this news looking one is more your vibe. And so you just like, hopefully you're understanding or starting to get a brand um going with what kind of text, what kind of is it modern, is it classical, is it fun, is it um pretty subtle. And you can go through, there are dozens if not over 100 um different templates that you can find. So I chose this particular template here. And you can see how much I changed it from what was suggested and what's here. I added a background image, and I added, our own images at the top of these bars instead of just keeping it all text. I added our, address and things at the bottom, and our logo. And you have to kind of like imagine it as just your scaffolding. Like, here's how I would like my information arranged, and then start playing around with it. But this saves you a ton of time, just being able to start with something and rip it apart and put it back together. Um, any questions about templates? Let's go. Let me open up another, let me open up another example and show you another kind of template. Um, like, okay, here is here is a real template. that we use at HistoryLink all the time to announce new articles on the site. And assuming like folks are familiar with what a reel is, it's like a really short video that you post on Instagram. You could put it in your feed, you can use it in a story, but the algorithm of Instagram really favors video content. So the more moving pictures you can incorporate in your feed, the better. And so I I just chose this one template. It's this one here. I saw how like the images scrolled in, ooh, and it like automatically swipes over to these other images. That's great. I can imagine using this for the purpose of announcing like new articles with HistoryLink. So let's see if I can get it to play for you. Here we go. So every week I update those. I just pop in new images that represent the new articles that are coming on the site. And this automatically does all of like the fancy movement for me. It's already there. And all I need to do is like copy this design every week. And I've got this like brand new advertisement that took me 3 minutes to make, that takes me 3 minutes to make every week. And then when I download this, you click share and download. And you can download it as an MP4 video, which is what I would do for a reel. You can also download it as a GIF, depending on how you're, or GIF, depending on how you are using it. But I would just download it as an MP4 video. It gives you the example, or it gives you options for quality. So this is for streaming. There's another size for social media, which is, 720 is enough for social media. So you can choose what size you want, which affects what the file size is. And then each of these little pieces is considered a page. And so I would want all the pages. So either this or select all. And then I would go ahead and download it. And then from my computer, I need to get it to my phone in order to post it to Instagram, right? I am on a Mac, so I can just pop that video into my messages and like text it to myself. But you can also email it. You can attach it to an email and email it to yourself. You can upload it to Google Drive or Dropbox. There's lots of ways you can share the file with yourself so that you can access it on a phone. But that part can be a little tricky if you're not used to sharing from computer to phone. Okay, I want to give it a breath. Do you have any questions? Any questions in the chat? Mhm.
I haven't seen any of the timely ones. I have kind of the list
Trigger
of
one.
some of the topics from your prompt.
Cool.
Uh,
What are people saying about the prompt? Just so I know what
yeah,
direction to go.
I mean, we had a pretty good range of like everything from where to start to, becoming an expert. Um, but there was a couple kind of clusters of questions. I would say one is around kind of some of the making content engaging. So it's the kind of, making sure, well, everything from kind of making sure that the images are displaying properly, they're the correct size, um, uh, utilizing branding, and creating some of the graphics. So, and I think that's kind of, but then there was also kind of a cluster around kind of the professional side of things, right? So how can I utilize this tool for balancing, both visual information, but also like textual information, organizing the documents, again, utilizing that kind of branding effectively for kind of creating that engaging but professional side uh, of the sphere of Design Suite. So yeah, a lot of questions kind of around the graphic design element of this.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So those are great questions, and they're very difficult to answer. Like, what makes engaging content? Like, if you are a content consumer, most of us are these days. Like, what is it that captures your attention? It's like a video always captures my attention. People focused things always capture my attention. If it's somebody speaking, it's somebody like, you know, I mostly am not listening to the audio on my Instagram unless somebody is like gesticulating and talking and and I want to hear what they're saying. And also you should always like put a caption on, any video because people are usually not listening to the audio. So having the caption is really helpful in getting some of that information across as they're like, as you were a blip in their scroll. But like, yeah, so video, people, and I mean, this is a perfect example, really. I mean, it's not perfect, but in terms of movement and it's always changing. It's full of people. It gives you it's got the History Link brand on it. It gives you like the cliff notes of what each of these articles is about just by having the um, the titles there. And it's pretty short. It's under a minute or it's under 30 seconds. And so the likelihood that someone is going to watch it all the way through is pretty high. Also, adding audio to any of your Instagram reels or posts is really helpful for the algorithm. The fuller the content is. So you've got video, you've got audio, you've got audio, like it can be music. Choose one song it's one song that you can post if you're doing something like this, where you're having the same reel every week to announce new programs or new features. Um, Having the same audio so that it's like kind of like, oh, this is that thing. I recognize this. And it's like, oh, this is what is our audio brand? Are we classical music? Are we jazz? Are we hip hop? Are we, that's kind of a conversation to have with your constituents, with your staff. Like, what is the brand identity that you are trying to trying to get across, and like, and who is your audience really, like the audience that is coming to your talks, been doing your in-person events, might be different than the audience that you have on Instagram. Instagram users are typically under, I mean, they're more youthful. I'd say they're like teens to like, you know, 40s maybe. Now that I'm 40, I want to include 40s in the youthful. But it's that younger crowd. Um, and so maybe the content that you post on Instagram is a little bit different than the content that you're like putting out in an advertisement or via email, via your donor newsletter. The donor newsletter is like a little bit more formal, a little less playful, perhaps. Um, yeah, so that tone, changing your tone across the platforms based on who those platforms are really serving is is fun and tricky and but worth giving some thought to. Um,
Um,
yes.
Elisa, sorry if I can interrupt really quick. Someone did it just ask, since you were talking about audio, if you can quick show how you add audio to a reel, since we're
Ooh,
on the topic.
okay.
Yeah.
I was playing around with how to show you guys like how to do something in Instagram. Um, I don't want to waste time trying to figure it out while we're here live, because I don't know how to share my screen with the Zoom. And let me just try really quick. Um, hold,
But but you would have to do it when
you
you're
have to do it
uploading
in
it into Instagram, not in the
not
Canva
in
account.
Canva. So
Yeah.
so I mean, you would click. This isn't the right, like I have to get you on the Instagram screen. Um, I'm sorry. I would, you know what? For that particular question, if you would like a one-on-one, I'd be happy to talk to you about like, or show you how to do that. There's tons of YouTube clips about how to add audio, but yes, it is in Instagram, not in Canva. Um, and so Instagram, when you go to like there's a plus sign and you push it and it gives you all of the options of, whether it's a post that you want to throw up there or a reel or a story, all those different pieces. If you click reel, there's another option to add audio, and then it'll give you all kinds of options of songs that you can add. And it takes a little bit of time to go through and listen to those songs and like figure out which one feels right. And so I'd say like recreating something as many times as you can is a good use of resources and time. But yeah, please, Dylan's going to and Allison are going to share my contact information. If there's anything that I didn't get to or couldn't get to in the workshop and you want to reach out to me, I would be happy to answer more fully questions that I couldn't get to. It's difficult to do Instagram like show and tell on the computer through Zoom. So um, let's see. I'm going to show you a few more things. So newsletters, like reports like this, using templates. Um, I showed you a reel. Here's a set of little videos that were made for Instagram posts. So you can notice they have like a slightly different size. Like the Instagram has changed their post size from a square to like a tall rectangle, which caused all kinds of a kerfuffle, like because everybody's beautifully designed square, Instagram homepages were now all like messed up because they were resized to rectangles. So anyway, this is the new Instagram size. It's like a rectangle like this. And I've put this was for a fundraising campaign. And so the fundraising kind of tagline is there, like our little message about what their support does. Changed every week as we were getting towards the big fundraiser event. And this was a mountain themed fundraiser event. And so this was an animation that was created by a friend of ours who's an artist. But if you wanted to add some kind of graphic, so you can go to Elements and search, what is this, a signpost? You can search like anything and boom, there it is. You can pop it in and populate it. And literally anything that you can imagine is probably in here. And you can change the color here. You can change it to match your branding. You can do all kinds of things with it. But this is a layered deal where this is part of a template. This is this template, which has like text on the front and like a moving image in the back. And you could tell it's almost unrecognizable from the template, but it gave me an idea of, oh, I could use this archival footage that we have of people like mountain climbing in the background of our fundraising advertisements. And so then each video is like this. I've got the moving images, I've got the movement, I've got the people, I've got and I put sound to it when I uploaded it to Instagram. And now I've been able to copy and recreate it. So once I've made one, I can make a whole set. And this format I could use over and over again. That is the beauty of Canva, is you can recreate. Once you've done the work once, it's so easy to copy and do it again. So you would make your one page, you can duplicate it like this, change the messaging to something new. Give us your money. And you can change the color, and boom, you can pull over another video. So this video was uploaded through this feature. You can upload files. Just click this button and pull. My computer has so many tabs open, it's struggling. But you can pull over whatever that file is from your messy desktop over to here. And now you've got a brand new post. You could do it in 30 seconds. Okay. Another example, this was our yearly impact report. It's got a different, you notice it has a different size. How do you change the sizes from one document to another? Great question, Elisa. Okay, I'm making a totally new document. I'm going to create. It gives me some suggestions of different sizes. Oh, it gives me an Instagram story size. It gives me a video landscape size. I can do presentations, logos, or most often I am going to custom size and say I wanted to have an 11 by 17 report. I wanted it to be kind of exciting and huge. So now I create this design and oh, it made it landscape. Okay. But this is how you, and then I could resize it if if this if it didn't do it quite the way I was imagining. I can go back and do it right and resize the design to the right format. All of these tools that have a little crown next to them, by the way, the resize tool, the branding package tool, and several others that we'll get to, mean it's part of Canva Pro. How much does Canva cost? It's pretty affordable. It's $10 a month for one seat, if you pay for the year in advance. So it's $120 for one person to have full access. And honestly, one person having full access is probably enough because the other people can sign in. You can share the login and sign in, and everybody could share it as long as nobody's like messing up each other's designs. You can use one. You can get away with one user. So $10 a month to have basically an AI design elf like holding your hand and helping you do all the things you need to do. So
Elisa, sorry, I'm just going to interrupt really quick, but I threw this in the
please.
chat. But the other thing is, Canva does have a program that you can, if you're a nonprofit, you can apply for a free pro account. And so
Mm.
it's a little bit of, upfront, you have to kind of prove that you're a nonprofit and that you're someone in that organization. But they do have a program to do that. So if you're interested, definitely worth taking a look.
Wow, I learned something. That's great. I'm going to apply it to that. I've been paying all this time. Like a jump. Okay, so so here's this newsletter. That's how I made this funky size. And I didn't really use a template for this. This was just, I wanted to have blocks. I wanted to, I wanted to have a lot of pictures. And I wanted to go through our year in our impact report, like month by month, and kind of feature one thing that we did in that month or one program, one event, one initiative, and just give everybody, a summary of our full year. And you send this out right before you send out your requests for donations because then they're like, oh, yeah, I remember this organization, all the cool stuff they did. Yeah, I'll give them $250,000. That's never happened. But so here's an example of a template. Once again, once you've made it, you can use it now every year for your impact report and just change it up a little bit. Okay, something cool that you can do. So this color is part of our brand package, this teal color. Our logo is not teal. How did I get this logo to be the same color as the rest of our like branding in here? Let me show you. You can go to edit on any photo and you can adjust the colors. Let's see if I can you can adjust the colors so I can make it more vibrant. I can make it more saturated or turn it black and white. I can change the tint to green, to purple. There's all kinds of ways that you can change an image. And this gets to one of the coolest, most useful features on Canva. If you only leave with this one tip, this is it. This is what I would have you leave with. Let me find it. Okay. Background remover. Oh my gosh, how useful is it to have a quick background remover tool for an image? Say you have this beautiful exhibit and you really just want to pull out this particular piece and showcase it on your advertisement because having all this background stuff is kind of, kind of a mess. Let me show you two cool things. Click this image, click background remover, BG remover. Boom, it's gone. That was it. If you have ever gone into Photoshop or Illustrator and tried to like cut out the shape and get it perfect and use all those tools to get the background out, it's so time consuming. It's so annoying. Canva does it like a pro. Look, it can do it to this guy. Boom. Now we've got like, oh, here's like the lecturer guy that we have for our event. Here's what he's talking about. He's talking about this cool outfit. You could add your text and like all the other things. But the background remover tool is absolutely essential. Oh my gosh. No, no shame if everybody's got their white like block around their logo still like on all kinds of stuff, or like you've got partner logos and you don't know like how to fix them. They just sent you this one with a white block, but your design has a like a gold background and you're just, all I want is this to look good here and to not have a background on it. Instantly, background is gone. Your design is looking so nice. So I can cut out these two things from this page of my document and put them here, there it is. And just give you an idea of the super quick tools you have available to you. Okay, background removal tool. Remember this, Canva background removal tool. It will save you so much time. Okay, I also wanted to talk about setting up your branding, which will also save you a ton of time. Okay, here you click on this brand package deal here. I already started to set this up. Create a new brand kit. I'm going to call this one Washington State Historical Society. And maybe our website was created like 10 years ago by someone who now we don't have contact with. And I don't know what the colors are. I don't know what the fonts were that, we made our website with, but that's kind of our brand. Like our website is our brand. So I'm going to go into the website. This was made with Canva for sure, by the way. I recognize this little calendar like doodad. It's one of the elements in Canva, and I've definitely used it. So see how nicely this is, like the colors are the same as the header. This yellow color is the same yellow that appears, elsewhere in the website. They've used the brand colors to make this feel seamless inside their website. How do you pull these colors? Check it out. I'm going to screenshot this website and then I'm going to pull the screenshot over into Canva. And then I'm going to add colors into my brand template by using the little eyedropper tool. Like this color is part of the brand, and this color is part of the brand, and this color, what other color? This color is part of the brand, and so forth and so on until you have most of the colors. These are some of the colors. And now you can also add your logo in there. Oh, did I get rid of all my colors? Oh no, okay. You can add your logo in there so that you're not always like looking around for which one is the highest quality and which one has like there's a bunch of different ones, right? There's like a block format one. There's one that has your name on it. There's one that has the website on it. There's one that and, and there's different colors versions. Having them all in one spot right here makes things much easier. You're not trying to find them every time you're designing. So I'll give you another example. History link for all of History Link's colors. I have our logo, the right one, right there, ready to go, and also our fonts. If you know what your font is, your branding font, you can pop that into here. I will note that not all fonts, especially if you had like a real designer who picked a really fancy font that requires you to like go and buy the font to use it, and it also doesn't translate to every like application. That's really annoying. Designers got to make things complicated. Uh, there are usually Canva Canva ready fonts that look similar enough to whatever your branding font is that no one will notice. And so you'll have to kind of, figure out what that is. A tool that you could use is called What the Font. So if you type in whatthefont.com and pull in an image of fonts that are used on your website, it'll tell you like it'll give you a whole list of fonts that are similar or exactly the same as these fonts that you're trying to use. Whatthefont.com. Um, this is not a paid advertisement. So that's how you set up your brand. And then, so say I want to go ahead and use this is a Washington State Historical Society advertisement. Now I can change this background color, oops, to the website colors. I can change this logo to, can I change this logo? Sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't. Oh, sorry. Here. I can maybe change this logo to a different color. I'm not gonna mess with that right now, but just to give you that sense of what you can do and how you can make it look good with your current branding. Text is another thing. So say I want to this is like this is a lecture, like an artifact lecture. I can choose any of these cool headers, font combinations. Probably not cute as a button. This probably not this text, probably not Tattoo Studio. I pick one that kind of fits what the logo looks like, and it gives me, you know, artifact talk, with James Joyce, whatever his name is. And now I've got that in my website color. I could use this blue or this blue. And now when I put it back when I post it to our website, it's got the same vibe as the rest of our stuff. So that, like the branding, like getting your colors and everything into the branding package, the branding template area of Canva will save you a lot of time and make everything look streamlined and seamless. And let's see, utilizing templates and tools. Okay, I mostly got through what I wanted to show you. Oh, but there is one other tool. Let's see. I think it might be in Elements QR code. Okay. Canva has its own QR code generator, really helpful. So you put in the web address of the event. Let's just say it's this. It generates a QR code. It's right there. I don't like how it looks with the white background. I wish there was a way to easily take that away. Wait, there is. Wait, is there? Where'd it go?
Under customize it on that sidebar. when you
Where?
click on if you double click the QR code
Yeah.
and now customize the drop down. There you go.
Oh, oh, thank you. I have not, I've not actually used this tool. But okay, so each of these colors has a number associated with it. So if it doesn't give you an easy way to, to connect your branding colors, you can always copy paste the number associated with it and go back into this and find and change the background color to be what you want. Update code. Yeah. So that's a cool tool. And now you've got, if you're putting this on Instagram, uh, people can uh, it's hard to use the QR code if it's on Instagram because people are on their phone, they can't scan it. However, I did want to get to this. How do you get people to follow links in Instagram? Linktree. Raise your hand if you've heard of Linktree. I did a little bit of scouting on some of y'all's Instagrams, and some of you are using them. Some of you are using it, and some of you are not. It is really, really helpful in getting people to visit a link. So, say um, this post that we did. Yeah, Cascadia. Um, say this event that we posted about yesterday. We just say, here's the event, here's what it is and where it is. And we say, like, click the link in the bio for more details on this. So because people can't click any link in your Instagram posting, they have to go up into your bio, which is up here. And you can either be changing this link out every time that you've got something new that you want them to go to, or you create a link tree, which is free, through linktr.ee. Go to Linktree and create an account, and then you can put all of those. This is how it appears when somebody clicks on the Linktree. There's that upcoming events this is where I want to get them. I want them to look at our website, or I want them to, go check out that new Queer History in Spokane article that we just published, or we did a really special Thanksgiving Feast of History Instagram campaign where every day in like leading the days of the week leading up to Thanksgiving, we featured like one kind of Thanksgiving food related article on HistoryLink. And so, you know, every day there was a new link added to this Thanksgiving Feast of History. And just a fun background, like a little bit of drama at HistoryLink. There was a big discussion about whether talking about Washingtonians being turkeys, like acting like turkeys, was appropriate for our branding. And I won because I said, for Instagram, it's funny. We're not poking fun at anybody who like did something silly out of desperation, or they're just, rowing bathtubs across the sound and like or like rerouting a parade route on purpose, like as a joke, being turkeys. So anyway, that was like a fun backstage discussion of, I don't know, does HistoryLink make fun of people? Yeah. In this case, a turkey, that's so innocuous. But these conversations are happening, and you kind of have to see what the consensus is across your staff, see how people feel about that, um, and be careful about what kind of stories, like in this case, like what kind of stories you're saying you're calling people being turkeys, and in what context, and what's the possible fallout from this. Are these people all dead? Like, are the families your big donors? Maybe keep all those things in mind. when you're choosing like a funny topic like that. But anyway, Linktree, really great. Highly recommend for um, giving people another set of content that they can look at and follow and find your offerings. Let's see. Let's go back. We've got 10 more minutes. So maybe I'll open it up. Oh, I wanted to show you one more thing. Exhibits. I've done full on exhibits in Canva. Like it's not just for advertising, for Instagram, for flyers. Like this is like a panel exhibit that we did for Community Transit's 50th anniversary, and all of this, all of these panels were done a custom size because it's being installed in an antique bus. So, measure out what the panel size needs to be, create the panel to size, pick the images, use that background remover tool to like layer images, use the elements tool to find things like, 100% zero emissions goal. I can put that, like, I can add these little fun pieces to kind of fill the space. You can add blocks and layers. Um, all of this, all of this exhibit was done with Canva. Um, and so it really is a one-stop shop. There are other parts of that exhibit where like a timeline that, like the part of the bus like above the seats that are really long and thin where you see all the advertisements, measured that, made like a special Canva um, uh, size to fit that, use the branding, the colors of Community Transit, these many colors to and their particular fonts to make it fit with their look and feel. And all these things like these thumbs up and this little approved stamp, all of those were elements in Canva that were pulled over just to fill space when I didn't have an image. Other things, top of our newsletter, HistoryLink newsletter, we made a GIF. So this is so that's what appears on the top of our newsletter. And that was done by let's see. That was done by just creating some text like a normal text block, going into Animate and choosing any one of these options. And then after you animate it in the way that you want, then you share it out and download it as a GIF, which means that it's tracked as an image, not a video. And a lot of newsletter, like I think Constant Contact for sure. I don't know if MailChimp or the others are the same, like those mass email communication softwares. A lot of them you won't allow you to embed a video. It has to be like a link out to YouTube or something, but it will let you input a GIF. So it's like a fun way to make your newsletter or anything that you're sending out digitally have a little bit of zhuzh, a little bit of oomph by adding a GIF. One of the tricks is for this one is that when you download the GIF, it just plays over and over and over again, which is a little bit overwhelming. And so I had to work around that by going to like something called like, yeah, GIF loop stopper, some like website after I downloaded that, threw it in here, and then changed the amount of GIF play times to just one so that when you open the newsletter, it goes history links and then it goes click, click, and it's done. Okay, now we only have 6 minutes left because I keep thinking of things I want to say. Let's open it up for questions. Are there any questions that I haven't
I had two in the chat that I was tracking.
Great.
Um, And then now there's a couple more coming in the chat. One was just about printing very large files. Did you download and print uh, take them to download the file from Canva and then take it to a print shop? I will also say I know Canva, you can order prints directly through Canva, also as a printing service.
Correct. Yeah, so for this one, I think the key is like, so this is quite large. This is like 5 feet by 1 foot or something like that. So when you print them, getting them ready for a print shop, you need to, let's see, file, um, oops, sorry. In the settings for before you send it to a printer, you want to add print bleed, which gives a little bit of wiggle room for the printer to cut it to size from whatever paper that they're printing it on, without cutting into your design. So you want to add print bleed. And in my experience, printers are very familiar now with Canva. And so if you send them a file that's not print ready, they will let you know. They'll say, please go back into Canva and do these following things, like add the bleed and blah blah blah. Um, I'm always a little bit nervous about making sure that the print comes out nice and crisp. And so that is something that I would recommend really working closely with your printer on. Even if you've downloaded it at, the super high file size, like a bazillion pixels by a bazillion pixels. And, you have this huge file size and your um, document size is the right size. That should be enough to print it really high quality. But I'm always I do get surprised from like now and then where, what I see on my screen, which looks nice and crisp, except for the snake, um, once it's printed, it's like got more pixelation than I had anticipated. And so I would just always recommend doing like a draft print. They can show you like they can tell, what is looking really crisp and what's not, and then you can decide whether it's a historic photo. Some of them don't print as crisp as others, um, whether it's good enough.
I saw a couple other questions in the chat. I might combine a couple of them. Uh, there were some questions about kind of just, I think it was both Canva and design kind of training and principles. So I did drop in the chat. I know someone asked about just for you generally, how did you get so good Canva, to learn by doing, or that there are classes? I did mention I used to have someone I worked with who Canva does have a design school that has like online courses that you can take, and I know she utilized some of those. Be curious to know personally. And then just, are there particular tips or design rules that you would kind of recommend off the top of your head, of like always just make sure you're doing these couple things or anything like that? But
Ooh, great question. Let me
Or
see.
never do
or
this.
never
Or
do. Yeah.
never do. Never have a white block on top of like for your logo. Like get rid of those white blocks. They 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 don't look doesn't look smooth. Okay, that yeah, I did not go to design school. But I know what I like to look at. Like you start I'll say that, if you ever watch like a painter or like an artist working like from a sketch, like the finished product, you only ever see the finished product. You never see like all the steps it took to get there. Like give yourself a lot of grace when you're figuring it out. Like starting with a template is a great way to get your spacing ready, like to go. But you're going to futz with the colors and the spacing. You're going to move things around until it looks right. So don't expect to get it right the first pass. many, like this went through many iterations, I'd say, like at least six, just to move things around. Like the text was going up and down. It was going across, then it was, then it didn't exist. It was in a different color. We had all the links with the underlines. That kind of looks a little messy. Let's get rid of the underlines. And you just give yourself a lot of time. I'd also say spacing, give yourself room. Like that's that design principle, I think, is I'm constantly remembering and trying to achieve. Like this is nice because it breathes. It has enough space at the top and on the sides. I don't have to fill this space right here with anything. Like it allows the eye to rest a little bit. This is still like quite a bit busy. But there's enough space. Like like give yourself space at the bottom and the top and the sides of all of your designs. I think that's huge. What else?
Well,
Yeah.
I just want to give a time check. I know we're at
Oh yeah.
time, so if people have to sneak off, feel free. I just want to say thank you for joining us today. I'm happy to hang out if there's any kind of lingering questions that people people that questions that people are dying to ask. Otherwise, I will send out a follow-up email with the recording to everyone that joined us, some of the resources that we shared in the chat, as well as contact information for Elisa. And yeah, just thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy to stay on for a little bit if anybody wants to ask more questions. I don't know if Allison and Dylan are able to, but under 5 minutes.
Let's see.
Also, I shamelessly um scour Pinterest exhibits and like look for like, and I'm taking pictures of exhibits at museums all the time. I'm like, ooh, I love the way this is designed. What is it that I love about this? Is it because like, is it because the text is really, it has a lot of space to breathe? Is it because the colors are so vibrant? Is it because these shapes are kind of like amorphous? I'm always trying to pay attention to the things that appeal to me and then figure out what that is, why that is, and distill it down to like some design rules or elements that are being used. Like if you start asking yourself those questions when you're out and about, design will reveal itself to you.
I will say the design rule I always go by is recognizing my own strength, and I am not a designer. And so I just get as best as I can, and then I share it with the people that I know that are really good designers and be like, can you help me make this look a little bit better? And usually at that point, you've gotten it, 90% of the way there, and you're not creating a big ask to say, hey, can you put everything together into one design? You've got something on a page and a kind of rough idea, and then they can look at it and be like, this could be broken up a little bit better, or we can move this around over here and kind of give it that professional look.
Totally. Yeah. Um, getting it as far as you can and then opening up for discussion is a great option. Also, like bolding info, like with exhibits anyway, like bolding information that is like the most important piece that you want people to take away, like scaffolding like the hierarchy of what you want people to look at, using color blocks, using bold and bigger text. Like if I just glanced at this, what would I see? I'd see images, I'd see this bolded text, I'd see this block of text. And if I wanted to get into the weeds, I could keep, reading the finer and finer print. But scaffolding your information in that way, um, that's a great way to think about your design as well. Cool.
Right. Well, I just want to say again, thank you, Elisa, and thank you all for joining us. I'm going to stop the recording now.